Hello and welcome to another episode of our Power of Partners series in collaboration with AWS. Today we are focusing on the topic of data modernization. We'll be unpacking why modernizing data platforms has become so critical and what challenges organizations face and how collaboration is really enabling business outcomes. My name is Fatma Harmoudi, and today I am joined by a panel of experts in the field, including Saurabh, who is a director in the data and AI team as part of MENAT Enterprise, Erdem, who is the MENAT principal specialist for analytics at AWS, and Mansi, who is head of pre-sales at Bespin, and finally Rama, who is the senior manager of data and AI at MENAT Enterprise. So to start by setting the context and setting the scene, Saurabh, can you tell us why is modern data strategy so critical for organizations right now, especially as AI adoption accelerates?
Thank you so much, Fatima, and everyone. Glad to be part of this panel. And a very interesting question to start that why modern data strategy has become so critical for the organizations right now. To start with, I would like to say that data is the fuel for these AI systems today. Any new model, any new application that is being driven by AI today, they learn from the data they consume. So any inaccurate, any incomplete, or any biased data will obviously lead to flawed AI outputs. As we say in our domain, garbage in, garbage out. Now, a modern data strategy actually helps enforce certain pillars, certain, I would say, initiatives that help to put the right data in place, like data cleansing initiatives, validation, quality control, to ensure that data is reliable enough to train these models. Many organizations, and which we have seen with our customers also, not only in this market, but across the globe, that the data that they are capturing from different source systems is actually either placed in silos. There are a lot of companies still relying on legacy systems, and where data is not updated at the right frequency, or if it is updated, it is not being brought together with the other legacy systems. So a modern data strategy breaks down these silos by defining a unified architecture like a data lakehouse or a data mesh, so that this data becomes accessible to the required stakeholders across the enterprise. A data strategy embeds the governance frameworks and brings in the required security measures, that who is accessing the data, at what time is being the data accessed, what was the modification that the data has been brought, to ensure that the lineage is captured properly and data is handled responsibly by the all stakeholders. This is what I would like to start off with.
That's a great overview, Saurabh. And now moving on to the more practical side, the challenges that organizations face when trying to modernize. This question is to you, Mansi. You work very closely with enterprises on their modernization journeys. What are some of the biggest challenges that you see, whether it's technical, organizational, or even around people and processes?
Yeah, so I often say that data modernization is like renovating your house while you're still living inside it, right? You can't just tear everything down. You need to rebuild it carefully, one room at a time, without disrupting your life. And that's exactly what enterprises need to think through in their data modernization journey. The data modernization is rarely like a pure technical problem. Most of the challenges we are seeing across enterprises here are around people, processes, and the way data is perceived inside organizations. The first challenge mainly is around people. A lot of the enterprises, as Saurabh mentioned, are still structured around legacy systems and not around data as a shared business asset. So to get teams from shifting, my system and my data to more of a business data mindset takes real change management and leadership buy-in. The second challenge is around the process. So you can modernize the technology, but if the data is not governed, not cleansed, or cataloged properly, it's just taking chaos from one platform to another or from your on-premise onto the cloud. So establishing that consistent data quality, the processes, it's what separates the success stories from the failed projects. And the third is the technology debt. So many organizations have multiple generations of databases, old ETL jobs, reporting tools that don't scale. And this is where the cloud native architectures on AWS really help because they bring the flexibility, scalability, and cost optimization. We often think modernization is about upgrading the systems, but really it's about upgrading how people think about data because AI is only as good as the culture and process that powers it. So focusing on people, process, and platform equally is the right formula to succeed in the data modernization.
I completely agree, Mansi, especially with the point that you were saying modernization can be as much about mindset as it is about systems. The next question is to Rama. So when we say data modernization, it can sound quite broad. In simple terms, how do you explain what it really means for an organizations, and what are the first few things they need to get right?
It's a very good question, Fatima. First of all, I'd like to thanks to everyone to inviting for this one. And Mansi explained clearly what are the challenges she's having for the data modernization. For the data modernization means upgrading or changing the current process, technology, resources to achieve our organization to meet the better result. We need to, like as she mentioned, it's not only upgrading, it's like we need to upgrade our current process. The way we are identifying the data sources to collect the data, to process the data, to transform the data from one form to another form, to meet the business goal, and the way that the way to store the data in a efficient way, not like in a normal way. Currently, we are living in a cloud, so that we, with the help of AWS, we can store the data in a more efficient way, and we can easily process the data. For example, if you want to work on the data modernization, there are four things is main thing. First of all, we need to understand the business outcomes, what the business is expecting with the help of the data modernization. Like we need to define the clear business result over the KPIs. Second thing is we need to understand that our data to achieve the business result, to bring the business result, what is the data we are having right now? What the data we need to generate? How to manage the data to get the result? This is the second. Third, as Mansi mentioned, what is the tool currently we are having? It may not helpful to modernize the data. So we need to adopt the modern techniques and tools. Like we need to have a big data platforms like that. So the fourth one, and we need to build the trusted data platform. We need to build the trusted data platform to achieve the business result. When you build a trusted platform, like a secure, easy to access, zero trust security, trust things, so that the modernization will bring that lot of value to the organization.
Thank you, Rama. And bringing in the partnership or partners perspective, AWS has really been a key driver of modernization globally. Erdem, AWS is at the center of many modernization journeys. How does AWS help organizations build scalable, sustainable, and intelligent data platforms?
Yeah, thanks for every participant that they have very well mentioned about best practices about having a modern data platform in these days when we have generative AI driven markets in today's world, right? So what I will be happy to talk about how AWS approach this modernization, data modernization platforms, right? So let me break it down into some essential pillars, right? When it comes to modern data platforms, we should start with the unified data storage and management, right? From platform perspective, think of this as your foundation layer, right? Where you can store and manage any type of data. So we need to build this foundation layer first. And at AWS, using solutions like data lakes built on S3 and data warehouse on Redshift, companies can store any type of data at any scale, right? Infinitely scalable data source, and it's going to be your single source of truth. The second one, of course, real-time data processing and integration. This is another vital part of the a modern data platform. Modern businesses need real-time insights, so ability to process and analyze data is crucial. And we have services like Kinesis and Amazon MSK for event streaming. Companies, our customers, can process millions of events per second and make instant decisions. Another component, one of the most important components is, of course, advanced analytics, right? And this layer is where AWS is really strong. We offer multiple services over here, like SageMaker for building and deploying ML models, and Amazon Bedrock for generative AI applications. For example, currently Amazon Bedrock has more than 250 models readily available to use. But more importantly, these are not isolated tools. They are part of an integrated data ecosystem, right? This is where the real value proposition comes in from AWS. In today's data-driven world, it's not just having a powerful tool is the important thing, but having them work together to drive a business value, the value that company invest in. And this is where AWS delivers exactly, right? And you ask about sustainability. That's another compelling area that AWS has an approach, right? Sustainability isn't an afterthought for us. It's built in into the foundation. So when you move to AWS platform, you can automatically reduce your carbon footprint by 80% in comparison to the on-premise infrastructures, right? And as you know, maybe not, but AWS is committed to powering the operations with 100% renewable energy by this year, by 2025. And the last but not least, of course, we need to admit that this is a journey. And our modernization and migration framework helps you on this journey. So we are not only there with our technology, but with our experience, right? Best practices, tools, and partners like you to make this transformation successful for our customers.
Thank you, Erdem. And coming back to Saurabh on the next question, from EANT Enterprise's perspective, how do you combine AWS's capabilities with your in-house expertise to deliver real business outcomes to clients?
Thanks, Fatima. I would like to first say thanks to Erdem for bringing such holistic aspects about the AWS, and he talked about bringing these AWS providing these infinite scalable sources of data that serve as a single source of truth for the internal consumption as well as external consumption by the customers. Now, when this starts coming in, EANT Enterprise plays a very critical role here, where they combine the AWS broad and deep suite of cloud and AI capabilities coming together with our own local expertise. We provide professional services and vertical specific solutions to deliver real business outcomes for our customers. When we say that we are providing vertical specific solutions, what do we provide is that we enable businesses to modernize their operations securely in cloud without compromising any on the governance or the regulatory obligations that they have. We enable solutions that enable trust in how this data migration strategy is implemented or data governance implementation happens. Customers, not only internal stakeholders, but external, start trusting the data sources and they start adopting it in their different solutions. My friend Rama also talked about how people come together, how these solutions come together to provide a secure, readily accessible environment. Therein, we provide a full spectrum of professional and managed services, right from cloud advisory to migration support to FinOps cloud management and everything around it. E and enterprise also ensures data sovereignty and compliance with the local regulations by providing a secured structure infrastructure to the customer.
Thank you, Saurabh. My next question is to Mansi. If you can please give us an example of how modernization has directly translated into AI or generative AI outcomes.
Yeah, almost every customer I speak wants to be AI ready. They want to jump into the bandwagon and say, no, let's build something on AI. But as it's been highlighted before, we discover in most of the enterprises, the data is scattered, inconsistent, and in silos. And this is a very classic example for one of the large regional retailer we worked with had data scattered across multiple legacy systems. So around sales, supply chain, and customer feedback, tons of data, but all disconnected. Now, where we helped them was modernizing by bringing everything into a unified AWS data platform with real-time pipelines, with governance, and then the analytic layers on top. So to feed in the customer feedback, back into the sales, back into the supply chain. This is where the power of data comes in. So to connect the data across the businesses to create the right experience. And then once that foundation was in place, we introduced intelligence with GenAI to automatically generate the product recommendation, even draft the marketing content personalized for each customer segment. So every store had different demographics. So which store caters to, let's say, which age group, which kind of customers. So every store had to be tailored as to which can get maximum sales for them. And the result of this was they improved their campaign response rate because those campaigns were targeted to those stores, and it reduced the manual data preparation time to run those campaigns, to get in the data during the campaign and to execute those campaigns. And none of this would have been possible without first modernizing the data. So cleansing the data, consolidating, cataloging it, and governing it properly. So that's the true power of modernization, turning the disconnected data into more connected experiences. So modernization and AI are not two separate stories, or they are not two separate streams that an organization should drive. They need to go hand in hand, with modernization being the foundation before any of the AI model can succeed. It's like a bridge that's going to get your Gen AI or your AI applications to be truly intelligent or business relevant. Otherwise, they end up being more of a good POC or a good experiment, but they don't add that business relevance. So the modernization is the foundation for that model to succeed.
That's a great illustration of how modernization lays the foundation for AI innovation. Rama, let's build on that. There's been a lot of buzz around AI and helping manage and monitor data, detecting issues, improving data quality, and even automating fixes. For someone that's not deep in tech, what does that really mean in practice? How is AI making data management smarter or easier today?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question and also very interesting. In real life, for example, as Mansi and Saurabh explained clearly about the data modernization, like in real time, in traditional way, when you are working in a data quality, you need to create a metadata. For example, we need to create a metadata. What we used to do, we have to create manually everything. It will take a lot of time. Now in the reason, as per the modernization, we are using the AI capability. In that AI capability, just we have to give our data set to that AI. That AI is automatically creating the metadata in a better way. And not only the metadata, automatically AI is classifying the data, whether we have a PI information, any Greek, for example, if you are having your data set is having Greek card numbers, automatically it is applying the masking technique also. So this is the way it is helping me on the data quality. To improve the data quality, what we are doing, earlier, our developers, we used to write all the data quality pillars. We used to have 6 types of pillars like completeness, timeliness, validity. For all the pillars, automatically that we are giving the data to that LLM. LLM is automatically creating that all the rules based on the data. Once the rule is ready, the LLM pushing the rules to that data set. It is validating and it is giving the better result. Here we are avoiding the manual error. As the third one for the data governance, for example, we need to impose the privacy, data privacy. See, LLM is automatically classifying the data, automatically is imposing the GDPR. For example, we are having a UAE data law. It is also imposing that UAE data law. In this way, in real life, we are using that AI for example, it is reducing my work like 60 to 70%. In our trusted platform, we are having that AI.
Thank you, Rama. My next question is to Erdem. Can you tell us about how, from your perspective, businesses should approach data modernization to create scalable AI-ready architectures that support generative AI workloads?
Yeah, this is another very important aspect of having in consideration, right? So thanks to everyone again to talk about the importance of the data foundation layer, but this is my job to explain our customers as a prior step towards the generative AI implementations, generative AI initiatives. We often see that this is like a mistake that we see in organizations. They are just straightly jumping into the technology decisions before thinking about the business outcomes or business initiatives, right? So what we ask them to question themselves, right? What specific AI use cases will derive with what expected outcomes? Define measurable success metrics upfront and conduct an honest readiness assessment from data perspective. Whenever we have this clarity, we can dive deep into the solution approaches. And whenever we get there, right, we have a couple of pillars should be in place for a successful Gen AI ready data platform. We can start with the data quality, right? Because generative AI models incredibly sensitive to data quality. Services like AWS Glue or Amazon Data Zone, we are helping them to implement automated data quality checks, validation rules, cleansing pipelines, data enrichment opportunities, right? And then we need strong contextual and data generation capabilities. What it means is that creating relationships between data points, tracking data lineage, creating metadata and business metadata catalog, leveraging like SageMaker data governance or AWS Glue data catalog services on AWS. Then, as said, we need to enrich the data. We need to augment the data based on the relevant context, tags, or semantic relationships. These are very vital for the successful Gen AI implementation. The services like Amazon OpenSearch for vector data storage, then you will be able to create vector embeddings to create relationships in between the contexts, right? With this architecture, you will be able to support structured, unstructured data, and you will be able to maintain vector embeddings and semantic search and RAG, retrieval augmented generation patterns. So on top of that, we will be having a Gen AI layer, right? So with Amazon Bedrock, then you can access the foundation models to create the use cases on top of this platform. So in short, we need to specify the use case, let's say intelligent document processing. Then we need to ensure our data foundation layer supports it well, right? With proper data quality controls and contextual understanding, the clean data. Then, gradually we need to expand this to the more complex cases as our foundation layer matures. The bottom line is simple. If you want generative AI to work well, start by building a solid data foundation layer on AWS. We see that the companies who are doing this right, the one seeing the real business value from the generative AI.
Thank you, Erdem. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the why behind modernization to how partnerships and AI are transforming the way that data is managed. Saurabh, as we wrap up, if there is one key takeaway for organizations looking to embark on their data modernization journey, what do you think that would be?
I think, rightly put, as a group together, we talked about each of the implementation pillars, right from getting the right data in place, bringing the right data together, implementing the governance and the quality rules, and then putting the right tools, right people, and the right technology stack. And I think AWS offers that entire suite of services to bring that together. And I think that is the key pillar to have a proper strategy and implementation roadmap, start from a zero to scale up so that you can become a next AI ready organization.
Thank you, Saurabh, and thank you to all panelists for sharing your insight today. If there is one thing that's clear, it's that data modernization isn't just a technology initiative, it's all about business transformation. Thank you all for watching and for joining us on today's session, and stay tuned for more conversations on the series.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.